Hello! This is the Whole Phantom, and this is my completed full-length review of Bioshock Infinite. So sit tight and listen up as I analyze several subjects, commenting all the while with my complaints, compliments, and pretty much just, well, complaints and compliments, I guess, about the game. So here we go, and now onwards. Well, that was a bit repetitive there, wasn't it? To my analysis / review of the main characters, I guess, the two opposing factions. Whoops. Well, I said that wrong. To my analysis / review of the main characters, the two opposing factions, the in-game enemies, the weapons, the game options, more specifically the graphics options, the game difficulties, gameplay, and of course, the story. But you should keep in mind, but you should know, actually, and keep in mind that this is a mostly spoiler-free review, so I won't be telling you this happens, then this, and this is how the game ends. No, this isn't that sort of review, guys. So, onwards. The characters. Well, characters are the core of any story, and thus any game. But the characters of Bioshock Infinite are definitely the product of a great amount of thought. They are deep and complex, yet simple enough to grasp how they feel and sympathize with them. Why am I pausing awkwardly in between my words? I do not know. Onwards, then. First on our list of four main characters. Jeez, why am I pausing so much? Jeez. First on our list of four main characters is our roguish protagonist, Booker DeWitt. Booker is a former member of the 7th Cavalry who fought at Wounded Knee, then became a Pinkerton. During his time as a Pinkerton, before he was fired for use of excessive force, Booker acquires a wife or lover. Acquires, is that how you say it? I have acquired a wife. Yes. I don't think that's how you say it. But, you know, either way, that's how I'm gonna say it. He acquires a wife or lover, it's never said in game, who he has a child with, although the wife / lover dies in childbirth, and it is suggested the child dies also. Booker then falls into drinking and gambling, in which he acquired massive debts, just like he acquired a wife, you know? He acquires massive debts, in which he amassed massive debts, but his debtors come to him and tell him, "Bring us the girl," and wipe away the debt. And thus Booker is sent to the flying city of Columbia, where he is to rescue the girl Elizabeth and bring her to New York unharmed. Now that we've covered the history, on to personality. Booker is a serious man who expresses a great deal of self-hatred for deeds done in the past, particularly his battle at Wounded Knee. He hates himself for that. He hates himself for the violence that he caused there, as he caused so much violence there that his why am I jeez alright, so right, Booker caused so much violence and had a habit of taking trophies from his victims, so he was called the White Engine by his fellow mates, and he hates that. He hates the fact that he was so violent when he was inside the army, and thus he expresses a great deal of self-loathing. And yet, he is very adaptive and shows the fact that although he is frightened by certain aspects of Columbia, he takes to them with great vigor, such as, you know, vigors and the skylines. You know, he's scared of those originally, but he takes to them with great vigor. That's not supposed to be a pun, but it definitely sounds like a pun. But he takes to them with great vigor. And moving on then. Next on the list of characters is Elizabeth, our so-called damsel in distress. Elizabeth has a very simple history. She was born as a miracle child to Father Comstock and Lady Comstock. Then was placed inside the Monument Island Tower, which is less of a tower and more of a Statue of Liberty ripoff, if the Statue of Liberty was an angel. And Elizabeth's personality, though, is a sort of childish, free spirit, yet reckless sort of personality. It's a very contradictory personality because of how she was sort of self-raised inside of a tower with nothing but books and a giant bird creature for company. But onto the bird creature. Next, the Songbird, which is a Big Daddy-inspired protector to Elizabeth. Protector slash jailer, I'd actually say. It's a biomechanical being that, while mostly mechanical, is actually quite alive. And is, the Songbird is mostly made out of leather and is made for high pressure. No, wait, no, not high pressure. Low pressure places. And cannot stand high pressure. If it is even submerged inside a few feet of water, it will start to break. Or its mechanical pieces will start to break. Then is our antagonist, Zachary Hale Comstock, or Father Comstock as he is known throughout Columbia. He is the spiritual and physical leader of Columbia. And by that, I mean, he's like the president and the Pope, pretty much. If the president and the Pope were the same person, that would be Father Comstock. And that's it for the main characters. Now on to the factions. First faction you encounter is the Founders, who are old school racists, or simply put, white male supremacists. They are also American existentialists who worship the founding fathers of America. The majority of the in-game enemies are Founders. Now then, the other faction is the Vox Populi, which is Latin for voice of the people, or people's voice, or literally translated, voice population. Or is it voice people? I forget. I don't know my Latin too well. Alright. The Vox, as they call themselves, are socialist idealists who believe in equality through force, and are fighting for that throughout the entire game. They are fighting against the racism of the Founders. Yet at the same time, they're not right either. Because, equality should come through peace, not force. Or at least that's my take on it. You could have a totally different opinion if you like, but I believe that neither the Founders nor the Vox are correct. Next up is my explanation of the enemies of this game. The enemies of Bioshock Infinite have a rather clever AI, which allows them to use cover, gang up on you, provide covering fire for each other, and much more. Though the AI is only truly very clever on the harder difficulties, I assume it's the same AI on every single difficulty, but on the lower difficulties, they just die too fast for the AI to get any real screen time. And I'm ripping up pieces of paper now. Why am I ripping up pieces of paper? Pieces of paper, get off me. Sorry. That was very random. I need to not rip up pieces of paper while I'm recording. And, it's a very clever AI, like I said. Very clever. But the enemies just die too fast on, like, medium or easy mode. But more on, the game difficulties a bit later. Enemies are varied in appearance and, difficulty, and specialization, as well as a certain difference between normal enemies and mini boss enemies. But more on the mini boss enemies in a couple seconds. There's a great deal of variety inside the enemies, such as there is an enemy with a helmet, or there is a type of enemy that wears a helmet. Granted, all enemies wear a helmet, but there's one with a full face helm, and generally a headshot will kill any enemy one shot, except in, like, 1999 mode, but more on that in another section. But there's an enemy with a full face helm, and if you shoot him in the head, it'll ping off the helm. So you need to shoot that enemy like 5 times inside the helmet to knock it off. Then you can do a headshot and kill him. Very simple. Or not quite very simple, actually. But, very unique. But, yes, there's a great deal of variety inside the game. So you're not just fighting waves upon waves upon waves of Joe Schmo / generic enemy A. It's, more like waves of generic enemies A through G, with special enemy 1 and 2 thrown in. Now on to the special enemies. Which, there are a few varieties. such as I'd say like the Fireman and the Crow. The Fireman is, well, I won't tell you what they are, that'd be spoilers, I'm sorry. But the Fireman and the Crow, but they have diverse strengths and weaknesses, such as the Crow is fast and the Fireman is slow. The Fireman does more damage, the Crow does less damage. The Fireman is a ranged attacker, the Crow is a melee attacker. Strengths and weaknesses like that. Next up is the graphical options. I'm saying next up a lot. I should really stop that. Is the graphical options, of which there are 4 presets. Low, medium, high, and ultra. Your basic graphical options, and I'm ripping up paper again. Stop it. As well as individual graphic sliders if you don't want to use the presets. You can just alter the graphics individually. After that comes your difficulty options. Now, the difficulty options weren't very well done. That I can say. The only mode I can play to have fun is hard. Medium I'd say is for new players who haven't really played an FPS on a computer before. And easy, it's just best not to even touch easy. I recorded the footage that's currently playing now on easy. Hell, I recorded all the footage on easy. But that's because I wanted to get through the game pretty fast so I could get my footage. But, apart from getting footage, there's just really no reason to play on easy. I mean, I played on easy on my first playthrough of the game. I really didn't die. Maybe I died like once or twice. But I really just didn't die. And one thing that you need to keep in mind, though, with me saying that, is that I had never played an FPS on a computer before. I was a console FPS player all the way up until Bioshock Infinite. But enough of that. Alright, easy is too easy, yes, and the hardest mode, 1999 mode, is way too hard. So hard is a nice balance. The hard mode is a nice balance. 1999 mode is too hard, as I'd say it's for seasoned players only. I can play on 1999 mode. Or at least I could play on 1999 mode back when I was playing Bioshock Infinite pretty much daily. Pretty much like daily I'd beat the game. Well, not daily I'd beat the game, but like once every 2-3 days I'd beat the game. Once I got used to it, I played it on easy, then I was like, easy's too easy. Medium's probably too easy too, I'll play it on hard. And I was like, you know what, I'll play it on 1999 mode and record it. And, that's where I got my 1999 mode Hour of Power video. And then, alright, as for what, you guys probably don't know what 1999 mode is, unless you've played the game or you've looked it up. Now, as for what 1999 mode, it is a throwback to older shooter games, and by that I mean there's less ammo, there's less money to pick up, there's less respawn points, and respawn costs money. Generally, you lose like a small amount of money when you die inside game, like maybe like 10 to 50 coins as your sort of cost for dying. But 1999 mode, it costs 100 coins if you die. 100. Or was it 200? I forget. Like I said, it's been a while since I've played Bioshock Infinite. I'm just doing this review because, I feel that I should do a review on it. Because reviews are awesome. And, as for how to unlock it, as it is an unlock, not a default game mode. You either have to beat the game once on any difficulty, For instance, when I beat the game on easy, my first run through, I was like, oh hey, I unlocked a new game mode. There's a little message that popped up after the credits saying, hey, you've unlocked 1999 mode. And I was like, oh, cool, I unlocked a new game mode. And I looked up what it was, and I was like, oh, hell no, I ain't ever playing that. And then you either beat the game once on any difficulty, or you enter the Konami code on the title screen. Konami code is a well-known cheat code for games. It's a very, very old cheat code as well. And you just enter in the Konami code on the title screen, or was it on the? I forget where you enter it. All right, but it's on like the title screen to like just past the title screen, and you enter it in, and it unlocks 1999 mode for you. And now on to weapons, I guess. Weapons, there are too few weapons, or at least gun weapons, at least. There's 2 pistols, 2 shotguns, 2 machine guns, 1 assault carbine, 2 rocket launchers, 1 sniper rifle, and the occasional minigun. But that's just too few in a game where you can only carry 2 guns. Because, yeah, you can only carry 2 guns. And that's one of my major complaints with the game. If you could carry every single gun, but, maybe there's less ammo for the guns, or if you could carry every single gun, but it took a long time to switch the guns, or there was a special menu that you had to go in to retrieve more than 2 guns, that would be acceptable for me. But as it is, the 2 gun system like Call of Duty or whatever, it just feels wrong for a Bioshock game, since I played Bioshock 1 and 2. Well, not really 1. I played like 5 minutes of Bioshock 1, then I was like, oh my god, this game is too old. It has clunky controls. Then I was like, alright, oh well, not playing it. Then, but I did play quite a bit of Bioshock 2. So, if you could carry all the weapons like you could inside Bioshock 2, that'd be really great. It would also be awesome to have some more weapon variety. Maybe add in a couple more machine guns, a couple more pistols, a couple more rifles. As that's what I meant by assault carbine, is like rifle, not sniper rifle. But if there's more guns, that'd really make up for it. And the DLCs for the game are promising more guns. I don't know how they'll work that in, but I have faith that they will. And then there's the Vigors, which are science-based mystical powers, which are based on plasmids. It's from Bioshock 1 and 2. And when I say based on, I mean, there's actually an in-game tie-in to them. And, by in-game, you find out about the in-game tie-ins a lot pretty late inside the story. You figure out how the Vigors work, and why they work, and how the Songbird and the Handyman are derived from Big Daddies. You find all that out pretty late inside the game. Next off is the gameplay, which is seamless, Vigors and gunplay flow together wonderfully. Then there's even forethoughts to combat, such as the form of Vigor traps, which is the sort of second mode of Vigors. Because you use a Vigor, you can use it in combat, like, I don't know, the flame grenade power, what is it called, Devil's Kiss. That you can just throw a flaming grenade of fire, and boom, it explodes. Or you can charge it up for a few seconds. It'll use some more of your power, which is called salts. And then you throw that, and instead of exploding on impact, it'll hit the ground and form this little volcano thing. Volcano magma puddle thing. And that is a vigor trap. And if your enemies step on it, or step near it, boom, it explodes everywhere. And, it's a vigor trap. And it's awesome. So, awesome, right? And then there is the voxophones. I didn't write this down inside my script about the voxophones, because I am following a script, guys. It's a very loose script, but it's a script nonetheless. So that's why it sounds, well, scripted. Because it is! And then there's the voxophones, which are pieces of backstory about the game, actually. That's where a lot of the details of the game come into. There's voxophones that hint at the ending. There's voxophones that hint at the identity of the songbird. There's voxophones that hint at who Booker really is. I really shouldn't have said that, but well, actually no. You guys won't be able to guess who Booker actually is. Well, actually, he's actually Booker DeWitt, but But you get what I mean. There's voxophones that address who Booker is and such, not who he actually is. Who he is, the voxophones are basically backstory. And then there's the gear system, which is a system where you equip 4 pieces of gear, which are a headpiece, a chest piece, a leg piece, and a boot piece. And these gear pieces can be found throughout the game. There's quite a few of them, such as the first gear piece that you ever run into is called Flaming Halo. And pretty much it is a hat piece that turns your melee attack, or the skyhook attack, because that's your melee weapon, the skyhook. It's mostly a tool, not a weapon. It's sort of an afterthought to combat in the melee. And, alright, but enough on that. But, it turns your skyhook melee attack into a flaming melee attack that sets people on fire. So, that's pretty amazing, right? And then, there's like, I don't know, ammo advantage, a chest piece, which makes all your guns hold a bit more ammo. And then there's, I don't know, Sky Strike, I think it is called, which is a leg piece, I believe, which means when you jump off the skylines, you do a fiery dive when you land, and, fire explodes around you. And those are just, like, varied effects that I can just remember off the top of my head, guys. So, and then there are the enhancements, which are sort of like tonics, I guess. And, oh, duh! One thing I totally forgot to write down inside my script! Can't believe I forgot it. The shield! The shield. It is a magnetic repulsive shield that you get quite early on inside the game, and it is very useful. It's sort of like a rechargeable health bar, actually. And the shield functions, like I said, as a rechargeable health bar, pretty much, that gets drained before your own health. And the shield pretty much deflects bullets. If you get hit by a melee attack, your shield will instantly break. If you get hit by too many bullets, your shield will break. But it's just sort of like a magnetic repulsive field that is around your body. And it recharges, of course. It's like Halo or whatever. You know, it has rechargeableness. And that flows into combat pretty well too. You know, if you only just had your health inside this game, you have so little health inside this game that if you only had your health, well, you'd be screwed, actually. Yeah, you'd just be screwed. Because, you know, there's so many enemies that you encounter at once. Inside Bioshock, you encounter like 3-4 enemies at once. In Bioshock Infinite, you encounter like 10 enemies at once. And they all gang up on you in like groups of 4 and provide covering fire for each other and use cover so that you can't shoot them. You know? Yeah. Pretty exciting, right? And then now I shall talk about the enhancements. Or at least I believe they're called enhancements. But they're based off the tonics, I do believe. And the enhancements are vials of colored liquid, multicolored liquid, which seem to ever change color from red to yellow to blue. And they aren't needed to complete the game. You only really ever come into contact with 2 of them. One of which is the initial shield tonic, or the initial shield enhancement. And the next is the Order of the Crow one. And the Order of the Crow is something that you'll find out what it is in game. It's basically a fringe element of the Founders, which you know, is a lot more racist and worship a different aspect of the Colombian religion. And then probably up on screen there'll be some scenes from the Order of the Crow area. And then and you only really ever encounter 2 inside the main story of the game if you don't look for them, because they aren't needed to complete the game. They just make the game a lot easier, and you have to sort of seek them out. They're behind locked doors, and they're inside secret chests, and they're hidden inside out-of-the-way places where you wouldn't think to look. You know, they're just sort of hidden, you know. And there's one of them that's actually hidden behind a table. You know, and it's just a table that it's a table that you walk up on, and you're just like, oh, hey, a table. And you just don't think to look behind it, because, you know, it's a table. Why would anything be hidden behind it? Next up is the story, I guess. And the story's fairly simple until the end, where things get a bit crazy. You'll see a multitude of videos on YouTube about, like, Bioshock Infinite ending explained, and this and that and the other, you know? Because the story really is very, very simple until the end, where things get very, very crazy. Because the story of Bioshock Infinite has a lot to do with time and space. That much I will tell you. It has a lot to do with time and space. And the timey-wimey, spacey-wacy stuff comes into play at the end. I believe I just quoted Doctor Who there. In fact, I know I did. Timey-wimey, that's one of his things. Yeah? Hope they don't sue me, right? They wouldn't sue me anyways. I don't have any money. And then there's decisions inside the game, like the bird or the cage. Name one decision inside the game. To shoot or not to shoot is another decision. Yeah, those are just fairly simple decisions, but they affect the game. To shoot or not to shoot determines whether a special scene will play later on. If you choose not shoot, you'll see a special scene later on, and it'll show how sick the founders are, really. If you choose shoot, another special scene will play, and it'll say, and Elizabeth will say, like, I'm glad you shot that guy, It would have been horrible if he came here. And then the bird of the cage. That actually has no relevance to the story. It's just a cosmetic. And that's how most of the decisions of the game are. They're just basically cosmetic decisions. No decision that you make inside the game at all will affect the ending. I cannot stress that enough. No decision that you make will affect the ending. Because there is only one ending. This is not Bioshock 1. This is not Bioshock 2. There are no alternate endings. There is only one ending, and one ending alone. And that one ending is very confusing. DLC, the DLC of the game is supposed to introduce alternate endings, I do believe. Just like it's supposed to introduce new guns. It's also supposed to introduce new storylines. I suppose I can talk about the DLC for a tiny bit, since I'm right at the end of my script, actually. The DLC for the game, from what I've heard, keep that in mind. This is hearsay, not fact say. Is the fact that woo, I've been talking for a long time, haven't I? Is the fact that it'll introduce new guns, new storylines, and possibly new endings, and a lot of other stuff too. So and all the DLC should be released by March 2014. None of the DLC has come out yet as of May 31st, 2013. A few months after the game was released. So, it's been a while since the game has been released, and still no DLC for it yet. Yep, no DLC for it. And, that, my friends, is about all I actually have to say. Yeah, my script is ending. I have the last paragraph of my script to say, and that's it. And that's about all I have to say, And so, drop this video a like, drop it a comment if you like this video. If you have any other ideas for any other videos I could do, drop me one of those. I'm going to be doing a Bioshock Infinite playthrough. First on hard, then I'm going to probably do another one on 1999 mode once I get used to the game again. And all of this footage is courtesy of me, I must say. The game is, of course, owned by the game developers. I own a physical copy of the game, but I do not own the rights to it, I must say that. Because, I don't own the rights to it. I own the rights to this footage, because I'm the one who physically recorded it, but I do not own the content of this footage. And that's enough for the legal stuff. As for what this is recorded on, that's one of the polite things. I used Fraps to record the footage, which I do own a copy of Fraps. You can't really use Fraps without owning a copy of it. And I used Sony Vegas Pro 12 to record the audio track. And I'm recording this currently. And I used a Turtle Beach Air Force P11 to record the audio as my microphone. And that's about all I really have to say, guys. So like I said, drop this video a like. Please drop it a comment. I love feedback. Hell, everybody loves feedback, If you like this video, leave a comment saying, hey, I like this video. If you didn't like this video, leave a comment saying, hey, I didn't like this video. But, this is HollowPhantom. Or, this is TheHollowPhantom, actually. HollowPhantom was my old channel. This is TheHollowPhantom. Signing out. See you guys in the future. Peace!